than one engagement with them. Colleagues, we had a PEC meeting that had set, and last weekend it was our normal meeting, 25th, 26th, that decided and spoke and engaged on normal ANC issues. Comrade Super will take us through. We will then take questions, comrades, and I'm sure you are not uncomfortable with any of us calling you comrades. So you will forgive us if from time to time I refer you to that. But like I said, Comrade Super will take us through the statement, we'll take questions, and then you will then indicate later on if there's anything else that you would like us to take further. Like Umhlaba had said, we are not uncomfortable with taking any question in the media briefing, but it should be within reasonable limits. All right. No, but let me hand over to you.
No, thank you very much, Comrade Nomakuku. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The ANC Provincial Executive Committee held its ordinary meeting on the 24th, 25th April 2016 in Fernhill at Moses Mabhida region. The PEC received a detailed political overview presented by the ANC Provincial Chairperson, Comrade Sihle Zikalala. The political overview gave an analysis of a domestic and global balance of forces and their impact on the movement as it surges forward in a struggle to build a national democratic society. In discussing the political overview, the PEC came to the conclusion that the developments in Latin America, particularly in Brazil, which are characterized by calls for regime changes, constitute a broader liberal offensive agenda against BRICS countries. Our country and the movement are also at the receiving end of this counter-revolutionary agenda to change government through undemocratic means. The decision of our government to build partnership with BRICS countries marked a departure from the Western domination and it threatens the economic hegemony of our former oppressors and imperialists. The current challenges within BRICS countries must be understood within that particular context. We are in a struggle to build a national democratic society, which represents something that is completely contrary to the agenda of our ideological enemies, who are found here and beyond the borders of our country. South Africa, under the leadership of the ANC, will and must continue to be a gateway of genuine economic development pursued in the best interest of our people, Africans in particular. The PEC calls on President Zuma and his cabinet to remain resolute and courageously strengthen the relationship with countries that supported our struggle for liberation. The African National Congress, conscious of its historic duty to the people of our beloved country, Africa, and whole of humankind, is determined to pursue this historic mission to final victory. On the preparation for local government, the PEC applauded the Provincial List Committee for having concluded all 11 regional list conferences. The completion of this important organizational work of selecting those who will represent the ANC during the local government elections constitute a giant step forward. The PEC noted that there are still pockets of concerns and complaints in some few wards which the Provincial List Committee is seized with for a resolution. It is our considered view that the selection process has gone very well, except in few areas that require more attention of the movement. We also welcome the view and guidance of our people on who will best represent their interest as what councillors, as the movement of the people We are committed to ensuring that the final list of our candidates reflects the democratic will of our people. Indeed, the completion of the selection process places the movement at a better position to enter into the second phase of our election campaign. This phase of our campaign will focus on the launch of the ANC Provincial Manifesto, which will be drawing from the essence and the central theme of our national manifesto launched by the President Jacob Zuma a few weeks ago on economic development and job creation. The Provincial Executive Committee also noted the opening of a new 3.3 billion fair breeds mine in Anckzn, as well as an expanding Nestle South Africa instant coffee plant worth of 1.2 billion investment in Escort. Our province remains an undisputed choice for both domestic and foreign investment in our country, and more need to be done by our provincial government to accelerate economic growth. These investments are essential to job creation and the fight against poverty in our province. On unity of the movement, the Provincial Executive Committee is proud of the amount of work done to consolidate the unity of the ANC, its alliance, and the rest of the mass democratic movement. Unity remains fundamental to the success of our revolutionary agenda for fundamental change. We are humbled by the level of honest and frank engagement displayed by our structures during their reflection on the outcomes and implications of the recent Constitutional Court judgment on Anckzn matter. The essence of the message arising from these reflections is that no matter how many tragedies comes on our way, we must vote to stay on course until we succeed. All our structures have committed on the unity of the movement as a catalyst to overcome the current challenges. All of us, apart from this understanding and the premise that a united African National Congress can never be defeated. We also congratulate South African Communist Party, Congress of South African Trade Unions, for a massive march against the escalation of food prices and the victory for the African National Congress on the upcoming local government elections. This march communicated a clear and unambiguous message that the whole movement is committed for decisive victory for the African National Congress, the leader of the Revolutionary Alliance. On message of condolences, we extend our deepest condolences to our Deputy Chairperson, Provincial Chairperson, Comrade Willis Mkhunu, and his family, who lost his wife, an organizer, a leader in her own right, Comrade Mkhunu, who passed away after a long illness. The PEC expressed and conveyed a message of support to the families of 10 comrades who died in a tragic bus accident on their way from the National Manifesto launch. Our tribute also goes to the family, friends, and the Congolese people for the death of the legend King of Rumba, Papa Wemba, who died after collapsing on stage while performing in Abidjan in Ivory Coast. Wemba was one of South Africa's most popular musicians and a leader and a leading figure in the world music scene. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Nopala. Comrades, like I said, let me apologize up front. I will not know your names. So when we take hands, I'll give you numbers. hoping that in future I will know who I'm talking to. But once you speak and we are on the floor, please mention your name, where you come from, and then you give us your question. Can I note hands then? We'll have the first round and then we'll go to the second round. I'll start on my left here. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can I take those 6 hands for now? Then we'll come back if there are other questions.
Hi, my name is Bongani Hans from the Mercury newspaper. I just want to find out, I mean, with regard to disciplinary actions that are being that are underway against those who transgress the policies of the ANC. How many of these, how many members are facing, are still facing the disciplinary action, and how many of those disciplinary actions that have been concluded, and what was the outcome of those that have been concluded so far?
Hi, Desiree Erasmus from ANA and Newsweek. Your 4th paragraph, our country and the movement are also at the receiving end of this counter-revolutionary agenda to change government through undemocratic means. Could you let us know where the proof is for this? Because I understand it's rhetoric that comes up often, and if there's proof, then do you not think that the country should see the proof of this? And if this is what counter-revolutionaries are going for, which is overthrowing of government, then what is the overall plan after the regime change? Because obviously you would have, your intelligence would have brought this up as well. So what would be the overall plan be? Just to ask Zuma, to ask the ANC to collapse the country? What would the overall plan be? Thank you.
What was the last sentence?
What is the overall plan after this? These allegations of regime change that keep on popping up.
Thank you. Number 5? No, 3, sorry.
Oh. I'm from SABC News Research. I want to ask on the messages of condolences. Councillor Zodwa Sbia, you haven't mentioned. I also want to know with that, what are you doing? Have you responded with the matter of the Cleveland issues? My second question is, with the political intolerance between ANC and DA from the Freedom March, I don't know if the party, the ANC, is aware that the DA member was stabbed today. So I just want to know what's done between with the political intolerance between the opposition parties.
Was going to be my second question. Yesterday, the leader was somewhere in Wentworth, and apparently there were ANC members that were trying to disrupt the DA campaign that was taking place in that area. They also moved from that area to another area somewhere in their state, and almost one assembly happened. So I want to check as the ANC, are you not worried that in some areas other parties will find it difficult to campaign just because your members don't want them to campaign? And my second question is in regards to the nomination processes. We know that in many parts of the province there have been problems in regards to that. But we are saying now that the process went well and we are happy that everything went according to your plan. I just want to find out, is there any place where you find that the community didn't want that certain council or a certain candidate, and that as a party you took a decision to withdraw that candidate?
Okay.
Okay, parties of ANN7. I just have, following on what Utuba was saying, on the statement you say there are a few areas that require more attention from the movement in terms of candidate lists. Can you briefly tell us which areas are you talking about, and also what attention, what exactly are the areas of concern that you guys are talking about on your statement?
My question, I want to take it from the Pidida briefing. What is the view of the ANC in the province with regard to the South-Gauteng court ruling on the spy tape case that was brought by the DA.
I'll take you on the second one. I'll respond to this. All right. Let's take this first 6 seconds, then we'll respond.
Yeah, thanks so very much, Comrade Nomako. On the issue of disciplinary action taken against members, yes, a number of comrades have gone through the disciplinary process. Remember those who, starting by those who marched to the provincial office after the Anckzn regional conference that was disbanded or rolled out by the national office. Those who went to the PEC Lekgotla, which was at Musadladla in June last year. Those who marched to this office after our provincial conference in November. All of them have gone through the disciplinary process. We haven't concluded all of them, but a number of them we have made progress in a number of them. And we are really encouraged by the cooperation that we are receiving from comrades, including those who marched to this office, raising issues on the outcome of the provincial conference. Some of them have already written official apologies and engaged in a process through the DC process, engaging the organization. And we said it's a very good progress, because we view the process of disciplinary process not as a process that needs to deal with comrades, but it's a correctional match, process wherein based on the cooperation of that particular comrade, that person can be corrected. We are very happy in terms of the progress and the cooperation of the comrades. Quite clearly, some of them have written formal apologies, as I've already said. I will be able to tell how many have concluded, because it's a work in progress. Some of the issues, others are still engaging the organization, and we have opened that process. Then on the issue of proof for regime change, these are politics. You can't prove political agenda, you know, that. But the proof is through action and behavior of a particular organization, particular people within the society. That can be a proof. You will see the behavior that it's trying to undermine the democratic processes in democratic countries through a particular way of, through mobilizing or through a call for removing somebody through a barrel of firearm. You see, those things can also be a proof to that. Yes, I think on the issue of Comrade Zodwa, really, we apologize for that. We should have included that. She was a comrade, and the way she passed away, including the instances that are happening at Cleveland, something that we are busy working on as the ANC. We do have a team that is led by the Deputy Chairperson, Comrade Willis Mkhoni, dealing with that issue, including engaging alliance partners, engaging all stakeholders that are involved there at the Clevelands. It's a matter that it's very serious, and we are trying by all means that we bring stability in that area. On the issue of intolerance between the A and ANC, as you know, that ANC is always it fought for freedom of association. It fought for freedom of speech. So we cannot be part of preventing people who want to exercise their rights that we fought for. So, but there is this issue that we'll also need to address, that if you see a person wearing a t-shirt, ANC t-shirt, then you'll be saying it's an ANC member. In some cases, we know of some destabilization of that are happening in some of the wards, wherein people will be given t-shirts, knowing very well that that person is not an ANC. There are issues that we are following up, so as to paint a picture that ANC is, preventing so and so to campaign, and you see, there's an issue that we are still wanting to, that we're still busy investigating, so that we don't come up with an issue as if it's an issue, but it's an issue that is being sponsored somewhere, so that you get media coverage. Yet it's not an issue. So yes, in some instances there might be some issues with our own members, but in some issues, in some instances, we'll find that it's a sponsored process which has nothing to do with our members. On the issue of nomination processes, you'll understand that our processes include community. You'll start with PGMs, where the members of the ANC will nominate and elect candidates. And after that process, we'll go with 4 members to the community. There, the community will be saying, yes, in a number of cases, in fact, about 80 to 90% of PGMs and ward conferences that have already been held, you will find a situation where in communities will say, no, we are happy with the 4, ANC must decide. But there will be those wards where in community will be specific, community specific, that you want this particular candidate. If it's within that 4, there's no issue with the ANC. There are few instances, in fact, in terms of my recollection, it's about 2 cases in the whole province, where in the community will be saying, no, we don't want the 4, we want our own. Then in that, we've said we cannot have a process that is outside the ANC process. Then we'll advise the branch to go back to a PGM and include that candidate that will have been raised by the community. and you go through that processes and come back to the committee meeting. So it's unlike what is being said, that as if the communities are rejecting our candidates. The committees will be saying, within this, or this maybe candidate number 3 or candidate number 2, we think is the best candidate. Then we'll hear from that. That's why in our statement we are saying we are happy by the guidance that we are getting from our communities. On the issue of areas that are of our concern, there are areas that parts of those areas here at Tegwin, some wards at Moses Mabhida. But you see, it happened at Watubuza, at Mandeni, we intervened there. There are a number of areas that we have already intervened, but there are pockets of areas that we are still having some challenges. Then we are intervening on those issues. So it's a process of, sometimes it's a process of educating our communities to understand the processes. It might be as if it's a big issue, but when we engage with them, then they'll understand. As I'm talking to you, the last PGM, the last ward that we met with since up yesterday was at 5:45 this morning. I could not sleep today. Dealing with appeals branch by branch, taking them through, understanding them. Sometimes you'll spend about 2 hours with the branch. You leave, others understanding, others saying, no, we still want to be engaged. So it's not an easy process. We are a democratic organization. Democracy comes with its own challenges. I don't think there is any organization that can say it's so democratic in terms of their selection process like what you are doing as ANC. So on the issue of spy tapes, I think that matter is a national matter, but I think we are moving from one principle that in terms of principles of national justice, a person is innocent until proven otherwise. Our understanding that Zuma is not guilty at this point in time. There is this ruling, but that principle should always guide us as an organization. I think I've responded to some of the questions.
All right. Thanks, Nompa. I just wanted to speak a little bit to the issues of DC. DC matters, I think we must understand, they're not just DC because they relate to the provincial conference or the regional conferences. The African National Congress generally is an organization that is as big as it is. You will have different aspects and different people behaving in a particular manner. So you have a continuous program and process of disciplinary matters. DC matters don't just come from the PEC. Other matters will emanate from branches, and the constitution of the ANC says a branch must request from the PEC whether they can discipline a member or not. So in other cases, branches will request permission from the province to institute disciplinary matters. In other cases, a branch or a region can say, province, please institute disciplinary matters on this member or that member. So we have a number of disciplinary matters that are continuous, have always been there and will continue to be there. Some matters, as we speak, are matters that are remnant from the previous PEC and are still being dealt with because they are lengthy processes. So it's not always easy to say we start a matter today and we know that in 2 months' time or in 3 months' time it will be completed. So DC matters are generally like that, and you will not have a tight deadline because we have systems according to our constitution that tell us how to proceed. So they do generally take some time. And on the issue of violence, just to add on what Nopala was said, the DA member that was stabbed, I think we as the ANC are stating without fear or favor that we condemn any form of intolerance, no matter who it is based on, Noma Epics again, because the ANC fought very hard for areas to ensure that areas in this province that were no-go areas are now accessible to everyone. We were fighting that they must be accessible to the ANC, but to the whole province and the country as well. So we will not tolerate that at all. If it's one of our members who have done that, I think the matters will be brought to the provincial secretary and some action will be taken if it is a member of the ANC. All right, colleagues, comrades, can I note hands? I saw one hand here. All right, I'll take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're fine. All right.
Now that
introduce yourself first.
Sorry, Paddy Harper from City Press. Now that the nominations process is wrapped up, how different will the face of the ANC be at local government level after this election? What's the rate of return in terms of sitting councillors? I understand, for example, Anita Gweni, the sitting mayor, didn't make the list. Likewise, Nopala, from your region, I understand there's been some quite dramatic changes regarding Chris Ndlela and others. How's that process playing itself out? And from here, sort of what happens ahead of the election process at ANC?
That's Olifant from the Sunday Times. My question would be on your post-election. I'm aware that you can also predict sometimes the results, but in the past term, you were in a working relationship with the NFP. I just want to know whether that was beneficial, whether this time you're going alone, especially in the region where Nomakoko comes from. I think that's where they were mainly calling into the NFP. I just want to know whether that regime has been beneficial to the party. Are there any plans perhaps to renew the marriage and perhaps take it forward to the next 5 years?
Thank you, Nat, for reminding me where I come from.
So then, just two questions I want to pose. Following the issue and who does research in issue that's 180 numbers. So I'm not part of this words anyway. I want to know, because as far as I know, following the issue is not resolved yet. So getting the own ratings and committed. So the process now maybe so we'll come up knowing who's the candidate for the following. I'm not sure what's but I want to know whether it is good anyway. So we make tutorials. And also who does research in 180. As far as I know, I got information that in what contracts, next year's the current councillor was not there, so it didn't go there. So it's a candidate. Now, in the fall that was there, it wasn't there anyway. Now we get information that so the man is going to be the candidate anyway. So we don't know whether it's true. If that is true, how did he make it to the list? Is that there was an unrest there? So because people believe that he was the candidate anyway. So I don't know what's going on. So the second question would be, I know that earlier on, SSCP withdrew from this committee. I want to know when the process was going on, whether they came back and took part, whether the list was committed without them. Such a problem.
All right, let's go back to what 80. You are saying a current councillor was not nominated in the BGM, but you are also told that he's going to be a candidate. That's your question. All right. So, no, sorry, number 4. Are you covered? Okay, thank you.
My question is that I understand that in some areas where there are protests, and ANC, some of the ANC members in PGMs will maybe their view will not win in the PGM, and then after losing the PGM, then they will go to committees and then maybe canvass the committees to be part of the protest. Is the ANC aware of that? And what decision are you going to take in this direction against those members who will go to the committees and then mobilize committees to protest against the decision of the ANC branch or the branch meeting of the ANC?
Okay.
My name is Clive.
Right.
From the New Age. My question is more follow-up to questions that have already been posed by my colleagues. It's around, I can recall in 2007, the ANC in this province was one of the structures that had been insisting that corruption charges against Zuma, President Jacob Zuma, are part of a conspiracy to prevent him from becoming president. And then now with the charges being reinstated, I just want to find out if the current ANC leadership in the province still holds that view, or we have secrets. And also on the issue of the there is also this yes, the issue of the counter-revolutionary agenda being pushed by some supposedly Western countries. Do you regard the recent Zuma Must Fall campaign as part of that agenda? Thanks.
All right, thank you. We'll come back to number 4.
Just to add to the question, the reinstatement of the charges, do you regard that as one of these counter-revolutionary agenda? And then another question into the councillors, which was near Shaka's head. I think about 2 months ago, councillor's house, 2 cars were burnt down, and I want to know if the ANC has made any progress in resolving the issue in that area, and as to whether the councillor was actually compensated for his loss. I just can't remember his name. The Banda is. Banda, Mr. Banda.
All right.
Okay. And I would like to add to the question of reinstatement of charges against President Zuma. Are we going to see night vigils outside the court as may have happened before in support of the president? What is going to happen if the president goes back to court?
Let's try and start with Peter's question.
No, thank you, Nomakoko. On the issue of the nomination processes, I don't know. I think you are lucky that you know who is the candidate. If you are lucky, you know that, and if you know that so and so is not coming. We haven't concluded that process. To be firm on that one. There are a number of processes that the ANC go through. You will be saying the process has been finalized once there is a PEC of the ANC in the province. Processes the whole process of the provincial list committee. Then a national list conference. Then you'll be firm to say so and so is there, so and so is not there. If you know who's there, who's not there, you are lucky. We don't know as ANC. Yeah, because there are so many principles that we are still going to apply. Issues of gender, issues of continuity, issues of national question, demographics, geographical spread. So once that process has been finalized, then you'll know exactly who's there, who's not there. So that's why I'm saying maybe you're lucky that you know now who's there, who's not there.
As a follow-up, when is the PEC going to sit in the national conference?
We'll tell you once after a set, as we have done today. We met last week, now we're coming here and announcing the decisions of the ANC PEC. On the issue of what will happen with the NFP and ANC, the working agreements was for this current term. We are now fighting local government elections as ANC. What will happen after local government election and the outcomes thereof? It's a matter that we'll decide and come to a conclusion on that one. We can't plan that we want to work Victoria, so all what we're planning for is to win election in all municipalities, all wards. That's what you are planning. Other issues are not part of our agenda at this point in time. No, maybe respond to that one after we have concluded and we are able to analyze the whole process. We are still in the process. We can't analyze what's happening in the process.
But like any other relationship, there are always pros and cons, and parties will benefit sometimes and sometimes they would not. It's just how it is.
Yeah. Yes. After elections, we'll analyze what was happening and they come to a conclusion. Yeah. On issues of following Umlazi, comrade, being specific on a particular comrade, I don't want to enter into that discussion. We said there are areas where we are still having concern. These areas that we are talking about, it's part of those areas that we are still saying they are still of a concern to us. On issue of individual wanting to be a candidate or not, I can't enter into that process. It's a process of the ANC that will emerge and say who's emerging there. So at this point in time, we're not talking about current candidates and current candidates. It's a new process of a new term. So it's an open process for everybody, including current sitting councillors and those who want to be councillors in future. Because even if it's a current councillor contesting, we'll call that person as a candidate. We're dealing with candidates now, not councillors. So what's happening with the others, including Obokulu, it's another issue. On the issue of the SSCP, I think you'll recall, some of you were part of a press briefing that we convened as the Alliance Secretariat. when we were talking about the decisions of the political provincial alliance, political alliance council, including saying that all of us as alliance are now back on the list processes. We're all there as the alliance secretaries, that we have dealt with issues that led to SSCP withdrawing. Since then, I think it's about more than 7-8 weeks now, they have been participating. As I'm saying that we couldn't sleep today, they were part of that. Yeah, all of us as alliance were here.
Okay, no, but sorry, just a second. So, in the issue of peace section, can we say, okay, those people misled, but okay, the councillor is coming back, maybe the information. And two, can you confirm that so the current councillor was part of the 4 people, of the 4 names? Is he part of the 4 names?
No, but Pala has responded to them.
No, he just.
he just responded to it and said the issue of the list is still being processed. But you can continue.
My first question was that, can you confirm that, okay, he was a part of the 4 people that is submitted here?
You see the danger with that. That will mean to say now I'll have to respond to 870 words
in the province.
Who's there, who's not there. So
because the people are saying he wasn't at one conference. That means you were not among the 4 people that were screened there. That's why I'm being specific or him that okay. However, that okay, he's coming through the back door. All right. That was the case anyway. But if some case,
yeah, no, I'll prefer not to enter into individual discussion. Let's talk about the process. Yeah, I think I've dealt with the issue of the SSCP and issues of councillors who are mobile, who might have been mobilizing community
members
or members. You see, if you were to mobilize members or committees to undermine the processes of the ANC, being an ANC member, and that is being reported, surely that process can't be left unattended. We will deal with those issues. There are issues. There are issues that we are investigating in terms of the behavior of some of our members who will contest in the ward conferences and not emerge there. Then they'll try and mobilize communities to undermine the PGM processes. So there are some issues that have been reported that we are investigating that will deal with them decisively so, because we believe that ANC processes must be, processes that are free for. And you can't say, no, I don't image here, then I'll try and manipulate the process so that it favor me using another processes. Yeah, those will be investigated and followed up decisively. On the issue of the position of the ANC in terms of 2007 matters, linking that with the current processes in terms of the president, I've said already that the issue of the president is a national matter. We have, I've alluded to our position as the ANC on the matter. We believe on those principles. On what will happen moving forward, it's a matter that the PAC will have to discuss and see how to do it. But at this point in time, we are fully supporting the president of the ANC as the president of the ANC. We believe any attack to the president is an attack to the organization. Ours supporting the president is part of defending the organization. We are firm on that one. On the issues of Kwatuguza and what happened to a particular matter, you see, if we were to respond on issues of that affects members of the ANC through media and what's happening, I think it won't be proper. Because there are a number of issues that are happening with regards to us as members of the ANC. Our first approach is that we are in a struggle, in a revolution that has got its own sacrifices. So you see, if you want us to respond, what happened to an individual councillor, then we'll want us to respond what happened to many comrades who died for the liberation of this country. So it would be unfair to respond to that. Because there are many who sacrifice even their own lives. So on issues of night visions or what will be the action of the organization, we'll tell you once we reach that point. If there will be any action that will be taken by the organization, to us, what is before us is that there are no charges preferred against the President Zuma at this point in time, so there's no need for any action.
The Zuma must fall campaign.
Is it part of the counter-revolutionary conspiracy?
I think you can come to your own conclusion. And that's quite clearly.
But we don't get
So you see, let me say, it's part of the agenda. It's part of the agenda. It started with face must fall. It goes to a particular minister must fall. It goes to Zuma must fall. It goes to ANC must fall. It's part of the agenda.
By who?
Counter-revolutionary.
But who? I mean, are we getting really where? Are we talking like Illuminati Bilderbergers? Or are we just talking Western forces like, George Soros? Or are we just talking internal forces like Julius Malema and EFF, who are then, funded by international forces? It's just, why don't you want to tell us?
We have said in our statement, there is an agenda, internally and externally. We have made it clear in our statement on that one.
And I think, can I just respond to that before you come in as well, to add on what Nopala is saying? We are not talking about supernatural forces here. We're in a political space. And Unopala in the statement clearly indicated that the fact that the South Africa, through President Zuma, got into BRICS, it clearly indicated to the Western forces or the Western superpowers that there is a shift towards the approach of South Africa, and that can never make anyone happy, particularly people who benefited from South Africa having to go and borrow money from IMF, having to go and borrow money from the World Bank. Now, when you move to BRICS, it means we are then shifting away from those institutions. Therefore, we are very clear sitting here today that the agenda that comes is that it's an agenda that is outside funded, as we have clearly indicated, used by using people who are within the country, but also people who come from outside to come and infiltrate some of our challenges, some of our weaknesses as a country, as a third world country, by the way. Because as a third world country, you would have challenges. As a third world country, you would be starting afresh in terms of establishing yourselves. So all those soft spots that we have as a country are being used against the ANC and are being used by the Western countries who have clearly indicated in the past that they are not happy with the route and the agenda that we are starting to take as South Africa moving forward. So that is where we are coming from. By the way, the issue of Zuba must fall, of fees must fall, it's very clear. If you look at the Arab Springs, for instance, this is how these issues started. Yes, there were issues of dictatorship in some of the countries, but the bigger picture was the fact that some people were not happy with who was leading at the time, and they could not change the regime through democratic processes. Therefore, you use the weaknesses and the challenges that are there in the country to implement your own agenda. Okay, can we take your hand? I think you wanted to follow up.
Yeah, on the equivalence issue, I think Unopala said there's a committee dealing with that. If my memory serves me well, sometime last year, around July, Anckzn municipal manager Tole, I was interviewing him, trying to find out as to whether they are attending to this, because equivalence is their, responsibility. So he said to me, there are broad political issues behind this equivalence crisis. I called the then provincial secretary, he confirmed that it's political issues that are actually driving this equivalence issue, and they are attending to it. My worry is that towards the end of the year, after that interview or those interviews, 8 people were killed. And that was in a space of 4 months, 5 months or so. Now, would you guys take us into this process? Like, one last thing. There's one particular councillor, Councillor Mzobe, whose name keeps on popping up. Whenever there's, there's a dead body, Councillor Mzobe's name keeps on popping up. Can you, let us in? Can you make us understand how far are you with resolving this issue? I mean, not long ago, one of the ANC members, PR councillor, was shot and killed in that hostel. And the sad part is there is no official record of the names, surnames, homes of those people who've been killed. Even the police don't have an official record. We follow these killings by actually putting other people's lives at risk, because we go to those people, we speak to those people, they tell us that they are scared. But, because we have that thing of protecting the identity of our sources. So we managed to, to get to these families. So can you tell us what exactly is going on in equivalence?
Sorry, can I just also add to that, because it's quite a big thing as well. With the equivalence matter as well, we've recently gone there and one concern that was raised now is the fact that the people there are ANC people, but the ANC is not coming to them to actually, hear them out, and actually, for which, they might be doing protests and not actually voting for the local government elections. So it ends up seeming as if the ANC is there and their people are there. So, what plans are the ANC doing to actually come to their people and engage with them, here and there? Because you hear of these teams and you hear, but the people that are actually hungry for the ANC are not being given the ANC. So, yeah.
So can I have the issue of also?
Difference now.
Yes. Okay. So I think there's a challenge. So the issue is there. So we've been there anyway. So whenever we go there, the issue of tribalism also
comes out as well. Because the people there, they said to us, every time there's a killing in Bamashu, everything is rushing there. And also, King made also a statement and saying that they that organize meetings, they even went to Joburg and resolve matters of factions in the northern part of the province, but yet difference. So whenever there's killing there, the NEC will leave a statement and say people must sit down and talk together. Now the question they're asking is that why there's no mediation there. So now, unlike in Bamashu, where come together, NEC will come in as well, the government officials will mediate there. But if they are killing each other, difference. They say no, people must come and see them. They say so. Maybe they say because they're coming from another province, so nobody cares about them anymore.
Now, you see on the issue of Cleveland, about 2 weeks ago, MEC spent about 2 to 3 days full time dealing with those issues. We had to exclude him on organizational programs, meeting with regional structures, meeting with branch structures there, both for ANC and Alliance, including meeting with relevant stakeholders there in trying to deal with the issues. So for people to say the ANC, because he went there as the MEC, but also as the deputy chairperson of the ANC, he was wearing both caps, as government and as ANC. Spending three full days there. So it will be incorrect that he has never been there. I can tell you even dates when, because I know we had to exclude to allow him to deal with those processes, and we had to make sure that even the team that's dealing with that is there. So we're dealing with complex matters. Yes, partly is political. We need to deal with political issues. Also, there are issues related to, so many issues that are clapping there that needs to be dealt with, and then yeah. But I think let's wait for that process again. MEC and the ANC will come and say, these were the things that we're dealing with. Very complex issues. Maybe it will be very easy for you as you see it. But I think once you get a report on those issues, once are being finalized, you'll understand and appreciate how complex the matters there. That would be my response. The only problem was that whilst he was busy dealing with that, then this thing happened to his family. Then he had to stop. But I think as within the next few weeks, then he'll go back there, because he was spending a lot of time trying to deal with those issues there.
But it's not about, was it after Zodwa as killing? Because really, action was seen there after Zodwa was killing anyway. There's a chairperson of the ANC who was killed, Bona, and his family told him they never seen any object of the ANC there.
You see, it will be difficult to deal with allegations. Really. Now we want us to account here how many times we went there, how many times we met the family, how even assisting families that their loved ones were killed there. Others calling them in the office, myself meeting with them. It's many processes there. But we can't disclose some of the issues because they are very complex. Other issues, if we disclose them and you write about them and they'll be exposed, then we can't touch those issues.
Yeah, but intervention as well has been long happening, even during the time of Comrade Usbu. While Comrade Usbu was still the regional secretary, Comrade Willis, again, as the deputy chairperson, was the one person who was tasked with dealing with those issues. He had actually gone there on behalf of the ANC. He went there with Comrade Tupegitele at some point together. They even identified what they thought were challenges and what were the interventions that were supposed to be done. So it's not correct that the ANC has not interacted with the people, has not gone there. We have just done it at different levels from time to time on issues called for us to do so. All right, I think we've responded to all the questions, comrades. Okay, no, thank you very much,
Thanks, comrades. If there is also one-on-one, those who are interested, I know there are those who demand this Zulu as well. They can have that opportunity.